Enquiries, welcome to my official yearly 2022 reading wrap up. In this video, I'm basically going to be telling you every single book that I read in 2022. Obviously not going to be going through the synopsis of every book and give you full-on reviews. I'm going to try and concise it, leave it to 1 to 2 sentences for each book, and I'll put up the star rating of every book as well along with the book cover. I had a really good reading year in 2022. My official reading goal was 30 books, which is what I set at the end of 2021, and I read 105 books. So I well and truly exceeded my expectations, and that was so cool that I was able to read 105 books. Like, if you told me a year ago that I would read 105 books, I would probably laugh in your face because I would be like, there's no way. But I thought it would be fun to actually go through my 2022 reading stats, and then we'll go into every single book. For the year of 2022, I have read 105 books, which equaled to 38,227 pages. My top 3 reading moods were emotional, light-hearted, and funny. My top 3 genres of this year, it comes at no surprise: romance, contemporary, and young adult. My top 4 authors from 2022 were Colleen Hoover. I read 10 of her books. Kiera Cass, I read 7 of her books. And Riley Sager and Tessa Bailey, and I read 4 of their books. So those were a few of my reading stats. I'm going to go through the books that I read in 2022 in the order that I read them. I started 2022 off by reading Heartbones by Colleen Hoover, which was a cute little summer romance book. It was basically 2 broken people coming together to kind of make each other whole, which was just so cute, and I rated that one 4.5 stars. Then I read Sunkissed by Casey West, which is a coming of age character focused book. It also kind of gave me camp rock vibes, which was really fun, and I gave this one 4 stars. I also read another Casey West book straight after that, which was Lucky in Love. I gave this one 3 stars. Kisses and Croissants by Anne-Sophie Johanna. Loved the setting of this book. It was set in France. The main character had an aspiration of becoming a really famous ballerina. I just didn't like the plot twist of this book, which bumped the rating down from 5 stars down to 4. Beach Read by Emily Henry, which was one of the most disappointing reads of 2022. I just didn't enjoy this one because it was a little too slow for my liking, and the writing wasn't really my cup of tea, so I gave it 2 stars. Please don't hate me because I know this book is very loved. It just wasn't for me. Rent a Boyfriend by Gloria Chow. Honestly, very unmemorable, but I did give this one 3 stars. Still Me by Jojo Moyes, which is the last book in the Me Before You trilogy. I was so sad to let go of Louisa Clark because she is one of my comfort characters. Overall, I gave this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed Louisa's last chapter in this book. The Summer House by the Sea by Jenny Oliver. I gave this one 3 stars. Cannot even tell you what this book was about because I cannot remember. Geekerella by Ashley Poston. It is a Cinderella retelling, but with a fangirl fandom twist, which is so fun. So I gave it 4 stars. The Layover by Lacey Walden. This was a really fun summer book. I gave this one 3.5 stars. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This book was my first fantasy read of 2022, and it was really good. I know a lot of people say that it's very slow. It is slow, but the main character has been alive for 300 years. She's been living an invisible life for 300 years when not a single person remembers who she is. Obviously, the book is going to be quite slow because you're in her perspective, but I really enjoyed it. It was just such an interesting book. I thought the concept was really cool. The execution, in my opinion, was done really well. I rated this one 4 stars. The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I don't really know. The plot twist was one of my favorite plot twists I have read in a thriller book. It was amazing. I gave it 4.5 stars. The only reason it wasn't a perfect 5 stars is because I feel like the ending was too open-ended. The Party by Robin Harding was my first 1-star read of the year. Really didn't like this book. I hated all the characters. The plotline was kind of boring. Lily and the Octopus by Stephen Rowley. This book was the first one to make me cry in 2022. It was just so sad. If you own a pet that you unconditionally love, you need to read this book because you will connect so much to it. I gave this one 4 stars. Fixer Up by Tessa Bailey Bailey. This was a really fun, light-hearted read. I really also connected with the main female character, Georgie, so I gave this one 4 stars. The Last Thing You Told Me by Laura Dave, which I actually read for the Hello Autumn Spring Readathon. I gave this one 4 stars. It is a mystery book. It had a really cool concept and I really loved the ending of this book. The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. This was a 5-star read for me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really connected to this book. The Upside of Falling by Alex Light. This was just a really fun, fluffy, light-hearted YA romance, which I rated 4 stars. The Siren by Kira Cass. This was so fun. It was kind of giving me like the Little Mermaid H2O vibes. It was really cool because I remember in this book, the ocean was like personified. So the ocean was kind of like the mother to the sirens, which I thought was really cool. I rated this one 4 stars. The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker, which is my favorite book of 2022, my absolute favorite romance. I love this book with my whole entire heart. Kala and Jonah, they are imprinted in my heart. It is what made me fall in love with the grumpy sunshine trope and the small town romance. The atmosphere, oh my god, the writing, amazing. I love this book so much. I cannot recommend it enough. None Shall Sleep by Ellie Marnie. This book was so fun. Had me on the edge of my seat. I loved it and I gave it 4 stars. The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This book deserves all the hype because it was so fun. It was cute. I loved the couple. I loved the setting. I loved the humor. I really connected with Olive. Like, she was such a mood. This one was obviously 5 stars. Good Girl Complex by Elle Kennedy. I wasn't a huge fan of this book because of a trope that it has in it, but I gave it 3 stars. 10 Things My Cat Hates About You by Lottie Lucas. I rated 3 stars. It was kind of boring. Pug Actually by Matt Dunn. I rated 2 stars. It was cute because it was in the perspective of the dog, so that was really funny, but I hated the human characters and kind of frustrating to read, honestly, but I did like the dog's perspective. Like, that was fun. Pack Up the Moon by Kristen Higgins. First of all, there's letters in this book and it talks about grief really well. You get past and present, dual POV, and it is just so sad, but like so good. So I give it 5 stars. 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Now, this book is a very popular book talk book and for good reason. It deserves all the hype. I love this book. I felt like I knew Evelyn Hugo. Like, Evelyn Hugo was a real celebrity that I loved in real life. 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. I rated 4 stars. It was so good. Gallant by V.E. Schwab. I rated this one 3.5 stars. It was very atmospheric and had such a fun gothic feel to it, so I did enjoy it. I just wish it was a little bit longer. Out of Love by Hazel Hayes. It's basically a romance but told in reverse. I just didn't really like how the book was written, so I gave it 2 stars. Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. The miscommunication in this book was absolutely frustrating, but it was really cool because it's a mother and daughter dual POV and you get 2 romances in the one book, so that was kind of interesting. So I gave it 4 stars, but the miscommunication was not it. The Flight Chair by Beth O'Leary. It was good but boring. Could have definitely gotten rid of at least 100 pages because it felt a little bit dragged out. What Are We Doing About Zoya by Anisha Bhatia. I rated 2 stars. I didn't really enjoy the book, mainly for the fact that the fat phobia in this book was just disgusting. I also feel like this book kind of had no plot. Like, while I was reading this book, I was like, wait, what is this plot again? The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. I rated 3 stars. I really liked the first half of the book, but I feel like the second half was not even needed. Like, it wasn't necessary. It Only Happens in the Movies by Holly Bourne. I rated this one 4 stars. It was so good. I kind of like the underlying message at the end of the book and the ending that the main character chose for herself. A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. This was also another thriller book that had such a good plot twist that I did not see coming, which really did it for me. Like, it was so good. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. Paris Is Always a Good Idea by Jen McKinley. This was such a cute book. If you love travel and romance, you will definitely love this book because you've got a main character character who's traveling to 3 different countries in Europe, and it's got like such a cute workplace enemies to lovers romance in it as well, which I just really appreciated. I gave it 4 stars. Somewhere Under the Stars by Catherine Ferguson, I gave 2 stars. It was very unmemorable and very boring. The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin was one of the most unexpectedly good books that I read in 2022. It's following witches who have seasonal magic, and it's split up into the 4 seasons, and I feel like it also talks about climate change in a very subtle way that I really appreciated, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. Fear Book Club by Richard Hamilton, which was a comic book graphic novel, I gave it 3 stars. It was pretty average. Can't really remember too much about it, but I do remember the illustrations were really cool. The Tourist Attraction by Sarah Morgan Taylor, I rated it 3 stars. I really enjoyed it, but I also feel like the book was kind of dragged out. Could have definitely be cut down by at least 100 pages and it would have been so much better. Get a Life Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert, I rated 3 stars. It was very underwhelming. Love Her or Lose Her by Tessa Bailey, which is the 2nd book in the Hot and Hammered series. I love the aspect of love languages that was incorporated in the book, and all the food talk. Seeing Rosie go for her dreams was just so inspiring. I gave it 4 stars. The Truth About Love by Maisie Myers, the most underrated book that I have read in 2022. It is such a beautiful book. I loved it so much. It's a second chance, right person, wrong time romance, and you follow them from the start of their relationship when they first meet to like years later. Like, it's so good. I loved it so much. The writing in this was amazing. Instant 5 stars for me. Set on You by Amy Lee. This was a really fun book. It was a gym romance, and we follow Crystal, who's a curvy fitness influencer. The body positivity and self-acceptance in this book was chef's kiss, which I gave 4 stars. Second First Impressions by Sally Thorne. This was a book where I really connected to the main female character. Like, I almost felt like I was reading a book about myself, in the sense of like that character was just like giving so me vibes. It was an instant 4.5 stars for me because of how much I could relate and connect to the main character. Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. I think originally I rated this one 4 stars, but I almost want to bump it down to a 3 star because I think it's more of a 3-star read for me. I am still kind of iffy on Miles and Tate, if I'm honest, because a part of me feels like Tate almost deserves better. Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. This book was so sad. Oh my gosh, it literally broke my heart, but it was also so good, and I gave it 4 stars. Book Lovers by Emily Henry. Definitely enjoyed this one a lot more than Beach Read, and I really appreciated the tall girl rep. Nora was major girl boss vibes. I rated this one 3 stars. Again, I don't know if it's just Emily Henry's writing that doesn't really work for me, but it wasn't bad, but it didn't really like hook me in as many of the other books that I read. The Fill-In Boyfriend by Casey West. I read this book in 1 sitting. It was amazing. It was just such a fast-paced, fun, fluffy, cute romance book, and I rated it 4.5 stars. Hide by Nadine Mohaya. This one was a werewolf romance. It was cute, but also kind of cringy, so I gave it 3 stars. Then I read the entire Selection series, so The Selection, The Elite, The One, Happily Ever After, which is a collection of novellas, The Heir, and The Crown, and they all have different ratings, but as a whole the series got a 5 stars for me because it was just so much fun and so fast paced. So The Selection I rated 5 stars, The Elite I rated 4 stars, The One I rated 4.5 stars, Happily Ever After I rated 4 stars, The Heir I rated 3 stars, and The Crown I rated 2 stars. The Heir and The Crown are sequels that you don't actually need to read. You can literally just read the first 3 books and not read the rest, and I kind of wish I did that because The Heir and The Crown kind of ruined it for me a little bit because they were just not good. I definitely recommend, if you're reading the series for the first time, read the first 3 books, probably skip out on The Heir and The Crown. Tools of Engagement by Tessa Bailey, which is the last book in the Hot and Hammered series. This is definitely my favorite Tessa Bailey book and my favorite book in this series in general. This book has some amazing anxiety rep, and I just loved the main female character, Bethany. She was just such a queen, and I just really loved seeing her anxiety representation because I feel like I could relate so much to her. Confess by Colleen Hoover had a really cool concept. I gave it 4 stars. Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover, definitely my favorite book by Coho. It was just such a good romance book. I also just really loved seeing our main character trying to reconnect with her 4-year-old daughter, and just the backstory and what happened previously. Like, it was just amazing. It was an instant 5-star for me. Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover, I rated 2 stars. I really didn't like this book. I didn't like the romance because I couldn't support it. And Maybe Not by Colleen Hoover, which is the novella. We're following 2 side characters that we meet in Maybe Someday. I definitely like this one a lot more, so I gave this one 3 stars. Sadie on a Plate by Amanda Elliott. I really like the setting of this book because it's set in a cooking competition, so it kind of gave MasterChef vibes, but the romance in this book kind of fell flat for me, so I gave it 3 stars. Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. I was very nervous going into this book. I didn't mind this one, honestly, but it also makes me unsure if I want to pick up any of her other books because I don't think they're really for me, but I did rate this one 3 stars. Stepsister by Jennifer Donnelly. This one is a Disney retelling, but we're following Isabel, Cinderella's stepsister, and it's her story. It was kind of a book that is talking about beauty from within, and I really enjoyed that concept, and I gave that one 4 stars. Then I did my first and only reread, which was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I always do a reread of one of the books every single year. This one obviously is 5 stars for me. I love the series. Do not like the author, but I love the series. Twice Shy by Sarah Hoggle. This was such a cute romance book, and I loved the mental health representation. It was so good. 4 stars. Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Please listen to the audiobook of this book because I felt like I was listening to a podcast. I think I rated this one either 4 or 4.5 stars. A Fur Love Story by Lone Lee. This is a YA fluffy romance, Romeo and Juliet retelling. It has a lot of Vietnamese food. I gave this one 3 stars. It was cute, it was good, but it was also kind of boring. Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. It was a cool book, but the plot twist was kind of like weird, so I gave it 3 stars. 6 Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim was such a whimsical, magical, fun read that gave me Disney and Swan Lake vibes at the same time. I definitely recommend this book. I gave it 4.5 stars. The Match by Sarah Adams. I love this book so much that I want to read every single book that Sarah Adams puts out. This was just such a fluffy YA romance. Like, if you're looking for romances that have no spice, Sarah Adams is your gal. I rated this one 4.5 stars. A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow by Laura Taylor Naby. This book is a major cozy vibe. You feel like you're drinking a cup of hot tea when you're reading this book. I gave it 3.5 stars. Twisted Love by Anna Huang. I hated the love interest in this book. Alex? No. Absolutely no from me. But Ava, I loved Ava, and I loved the friendship group in this book. I cannot wait to continue the rest of the series, but Alex really just like ruined the book for me. But I did give this one 3 stars. Then I read A Curse So Dark and Lonely and A Heart So Fierce and Broken, which are part of the Curse Breakers series, which is kind of like a Beauty and the Beast reimagining. I gave both of these books 3 stars. Then I read the Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. So I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, Good Girl, Bad Blood, and As Good As Dead. I rated both A Good Girl's Guide to Murder and Good Girl, Bad Blood 5 stars. I loved these books with my whole heart. I don't know what it is about romance being subplots in books, but I feel like romance subplots in like fantasy or mystery books always end up being my favorites compared to actual romance books, if that makes sense. But yeah, the first 2 books got 5 stars for me. Really enjoyed them. The last book though, As Good As Dead, I rated that one 3 stars. I didn't really like how the story turned around, and I really did not like how it ended. I feel like I needed more closure as to what happened. Then I read Layla by Colleen Hoover. This is my least favorite Coho book. I really just, it was so weird and I did not like it. The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling. This was just a really cute Halloween rom-com, perfect to read during the October season and I rated it 4 stars. Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. This is my favorite Riley Sager book. It was so good. It was one of the only thriller horror books that like really got me like scared, and I just like, it was perfect. It was like the perfect book to read if you want like scary spooky vibes. I gave it 4 stars. Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica. I rated 3 stars. It was okay, but I just didn't really like the plot twist. Witches of Brooklyn by Sophie Escabasi. It was just a funny graphic novel. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. Girl, Step and Thorn by Melissa Bashadaust. I rated this one 3 stars. I really like the romance in this book, but I feel like this book was kind of up and down. Like I really enjoyed the start of the book, kind of dipped in the middle and then kind of went back up in the end. So that's my reasoning for 3 stars, but I really like the romance in this one. Survive the Night by Riley Sager. This book was so disappointing because I thought the concept was really, really cool, but I feel like the execution just went down for me. Verity by Colleen Hoover genuinely disturbed me, and not in a good way. I don't even think there is a good way to be disturbed, but I gave it 3 stars. Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino. I don't know why not many people talk about this book, because this book is chef's kiss, phenomenal. I love it so much. It is one of the only second chance romance books that I actually enjoy. 5 stars. Reasons Why Not to Date Your Nemesis by Melanie Munton. I rated this one 3 stars. I really like the setting of this book, but I feel like the spice in this book was so cringy that I was just like, ew. The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. This had a really slow start at the beginning, but it really picked up, and the double plot twist I was not expecting, and it was just really cool. So I gave it 4 stars. Fairest of All by Serena Valentino. This is a story about the evil queen from Snow White and like her backstory of how she became evil. It was really cool. I gave it 3 stars. Kiki's Delivery Service by Eiko Kadono. I loved Kiki's Delivery Service, the Studio Ghibli movie. So I was really excited to be picking up this book, and I loved the book as much as I loved the movie. I gave this one 4 stars. Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell. If you want a Halloween autumnal book, this book is for you, because it was such a fun graphic novel. It's definitely my favorite graphic novel that I read in 2022. Granted, I didn't really read many graphic novels, but I really enjoyed it. I loved all the autumnal Halloween activities. The romance was really cute. I gave it 4 stars. The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This was also another book where like the concept, like the synopsis of this book was so cool, but the execution for me, I didn't really enjoy it, to be honest. Probably an unpopular opinion, but I gave it 3 stars. Speechless by Lindsay Lanza. Now this book is not released yet. It comes out on January 17th, but I got an advanced reader's copy of it and I read it in November, and I freaking love this book. It was so cute. I gave it 4 stars. Definitely recommend when it comes out on January 17th, go pick it up because it is so good. November 9 by Colleen Hoover, which yes, I purposely left this book to read in November. I really enjoyed it. It was such an interesting concept, and I think the execution was done really well. Plot twist was so good. I was so shocked. I gave it 4 stars. As Seen on TV by Meredith Shaw was the worst book that I read in 2022. I hated this book. Like, no, 1 star. A Cross Country Christmas by Courtney Walsh. This was my first Christmas holiday romance, and I loved it so much. It was just so cute, and I love the childhood crushes aspect as well as the reverse grumpy sunshine, forced proximity. I gave it 4 stars. Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey. I gave 2 stars because I felt like this book kind of had no plot and too much spice. Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I rated 4.5 stars. This book was so incredibly fantastic. I cannot recommend this book enough. I feel like this is one of the romance books that also felt very, very realistic, and I just really appreciated that. Inner Holidays by Christina Lauren. This book was so fun. I really loved the time loop aspect of it. I loved all the Christmas wintry activities that were included. It was just such a fun, cozy book that I gave 4 stars. The Holiday Switch by Tiff Marcello. It was an okay book, but it was kind of boring, so I gave it 3 stars. The Naughty or Nice Clause by Kate Callahan. I don't know how this book is classified as a romance book, because where was the romance? Where was the chemistry? Because it was definitely not in this book. I gave this one 1 star. And the last book I read in 2022 was The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox. This is the perfect combination of The Parent Trap and The Princess Switch. So good, so cozy. I loved the aspect of twins swapping lives closer to Christmas and having their own little separate romances. I gave it 4 stars. I feel like that was a really good book to end off on in 2022. That was all 105 books that I read in 2022. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video because I was so excited to film this as soon as end of year started coming around, because I was like, yes, this is gonna be so much fun to do like a full-on yearly wrap up. Let me know in the comments down below what was your favorite book that you read in 2022 and how many books you managed to read in the year. And if you enjoyed watching this video, please give this video a huge thumbs up. I am actually doing a whole week of uploads this week, so if you've missed any of the videos that I posted this week, definitely check them out. I'll leave a little playlist down below, and subscribe to my channel down below as well. I post new videos every single week, and follow me on all my social medias. I post a ton on there as well, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.